Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. This video is going to be a couple of days of you following me and some of my crafty escapades. And I hope that it's an enjoyable one. I've got a bit of a list of things that I want to get done over the next couple of days. It's Sunday the 23rd of January. Tomorrow, Monday, is my non-work day. I work a 9-day fortnight, so I get every other Monday off. So it's going to be my crafting day. So I've got a few things that I want to do. I've got 2 blankets that need darning. I've got a pair of socks that need fixing. Mark has put a hole in them. I've got a jumper from my mum that I knit for her a while ago. The sleeves are too long, so she wants me to take the sleeves back if I can. That's a stretch goal for this weekend. I'm not sure I'm going to get to the jumper, but we'll put it on the list anyway. I want to do a couple of baby squares, if possible, to keep that project ticking over. I've finished my socks. I've done the sock tube, which is my Scrappy Sock project for the socks to match your shawl knit along. More detail on all of this will come up. You don't need to be taking notes now in the introduction. But I've done my sock tube, so I now need to cut it. I need to put heels, toes and cuffs on that. So I've got a few things that I want to do. I did one of these videos back towards the end of last year. We made a list. We ticked off the things as we were going, and lots of you loved that video. And I think I have some kindred spirit in people who like to make lists and cross through them or tick them off. So that's going to be my plan for this video. And I have no idea how long it's going to be. It'll depend, I guess, on how much I get done. But the other super exciting thing, which is why I'm just filming this now quickly, Sunday, before I head out or head off, I have some fabric. And I don't know if I mentioned this in a video before, but I've definitely mentioned it on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will know. I have some corduroy fabric. And I'm off to a Dungarees making workshop. And I'm going to make brown corduroy dungarees for Mark. How retro is that? I'm really excited. I said at the beginning of the year, in my year ahead video, that I wanted to do some more sewing. And I saw that a local craft business they run knitting and crochet courses and scrappy courses. They're called Twin Made. I'll pop some details below. But they're also doing some clothes making classes, and saw that they had a dungarees class. Mark loves dungarees, keeps on about buying a pair, and he's never got around to it. So I enrolled myself on the course, bit of personal development for 2022. Mark found some fabric. So we are off. I'm off. He's staying here. He's making bread. I'm off to go. I've got my matching thread and I'm going to go make my dungarees. So this weekend is dungarees, socks, 2 blankets, darning socks, and then knitted squares and maybe my mum's jumper. That's a lot, and it's already 11:30 on the Sunday. So I'm off to my course. My course is 12 till 1. No, 12 till 1? No, 12 till 4. And then, Loki's coming to stay as well, for those of you that love Loki. So 12 till 4 for my course. I'm going to go pick Loki up, and then I'm going to come home, start some of my projects, and tick through my list. And then tomorrow, we'll see how much we get done up till about midday, maybe 1, 2 o'clock, and then I'll edit this together and then get it uploaded Monday tea time. That is the plan. As we know with lots of these videos, though, best laid plans, it never works out like that. So we'll see how much of this introduction we actually get done, but I really need to go because I don't want to be late for my course. That would not be a good way. That would not be a good way to make a first impression on my course tutor. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Sit back, grab a drink. I need to finish my coffee. And then, yeah, let's go. Hello, right. As if by magic, it's now Monday. So you've just seen some footage of me at my craft course and you didn't really see much else. You know when you're kind of in the moment and you're just enjoying something? Yeah, I did that. It was brilliant. I had such a fun day, but I forgot to film any footage. So the bit that you've just seen, was the vending machine. So as I said, the course was run by a business called Twin Made, and the tutor was a lady called Charlotte, who was just super knowledgeable. Even though I've done some sewing, only some basic sewing last year, I learned loads of little hints and tips on the machine, which was great. But as I said, as a crafty business, they do loads of different art projects. I'll pop some details below so you can go and check them out. But one of the things that Charlotte said that she'd wanted for years and years and years, and she now finally has, is a crafty vending machine, which is just a brilliant idea. It's got like cross-stitch kits and that kind of stuff in it. So you saw a bit of footage of the vending machine and the very front of the unit that they've got in the market. But that's all I took. So I'm going to very quickly show you the dungarees, and then I need to go on with some other projects. So here are my dungarees. So if I go slow, we have straps, which are twisted. And then we've got a lovely little pocket on the front. And if I say so myself, that's pretty good pattern matching. Look at that, on the center line and everything. So we've got a pocket, and then obviously standard dungarees, and then got a pocket on the back. If I pop them on my shoulder for a minute, I can quickly show you. Mark is working, so I can't go and get him and make him put them on for me. But I made him take a picture when I got home yesterday. So there he is wearing said dungarees. They're super fun. And yeah, I'm really pleased with my sewing skills, which is the most important part. That's why I did this. And I had some great fun making them. So I've now got the pattern, which I can make more if I want. I use the overlocker, which if you've never seen an overlocker before, it gives you this really neat locked in edge to kind of neaten all of the seams up. But the thing with the overlocker is it's really scary. Is you sew your seams together. So if you imagine I sewed the inside of the legs together, and then you have like a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. You then run the whole thing through the overlocker and it cuts the seam allowance away and then locks in the corner. So it stops it fraying, gives you a really secure edge, but really scary because once you've gone through the machine, that's it. You've cut the fabric and there's no going back if you've done it wrong. But I love this, and I don't know if you can make it out in the video. The thread that Charlotte had on the overlocker, nearly dropped them. The thread you've got on the overlocker is coloured. Yeah, I don't think it's going to show up properly. It's kind of like a rainbow thread. So Mark's got this like secret rainbow inside his dungarees. So super fun. But there we go. So that is the first thing ticked off my to-do list. And I said I didn't film any footage at the workshop because I was just too engrossed in making my dungarees. And then I went to pick Loki up, came home, had tea, I started some knitting, and then time just got away with me. But I've been making progress, so I'm gonna go and get my list in a minute. I've left it in the bedroom. But I have then done my dungarees and I've done my 2 blanket squares. So I did one last night and then I started the second one. I cast it on and then I've done the lacy pattern this morning. So I've just been to walk Loki. So I did that this morning. I've also emptied the dishwasher and put some washing on. I kind of feel like I need to caveat sometimes that it's my non-work day. And whilst Mark would probably say I don't do anything apart from knit, I do some household chores on my non-work day. So I am pottering around. But I've done my 2 squares. And the other thing I thought I would just show off quickly is, so this is the second pattern. So you can see it's this kind of lovely, I don't know, almost like a sweetie shape. I think it's technically called Lace Kisses, but we've got this lovely lacy pattern. And then the first pattern I've shown off before are these triangles. And then the blanket is basically made up of 16 squares with a letter, so 15 of these, and then a letter for the baby's initial. And what I wanted to do, I'm still out of breath from walking the dog. And what I wanted to do was finish all of the blue. So I've now done, according to my schematic, which I'll show you in a minute, I've now done 3 of these lace 2 patterns, which means I finished all of the blue. So all the blue yarn is done, apart from the border. And I make myself, this is really geeky, I make myself a little schematic. So you can see, this is the size of the blanket. So I've done all of the A's, where you can see I've done them. I've now done the blue B's. So I've got a couple of other ones to do. And then I've done the same on Thea's. So Thea's is in pink and Noah's is in blue. And look, I've even given myself a little tick list that says how much of the way through I am. So on Noah's, I am 69% complete because I've done 11 of my 16. So I've done that. So that's tick on my dungarees, tick on my baby squares. I feel like now I'm going to do some mending. So I want to do the socks and the blankets because I think the socks will take me maybe 15, 20 minutes. And the one blanket will take me literally like a minute or 2 because it's just come loose in the center, but the yarn's still attached. So I just need to pull it tight and darn it. I'll show you all that in a minute. But I'm back from walking the dog. Bit of a catch up with you folks, which is brilliant. The hound is there. Hello. You going to say hello? So he's had his walk. I've had my walk. So now let's get mending, and then I'll be back once I've done my mending, and then we're going to go on to socks, which I've never done before, but more on that in a bit. Okay, I am here. I've got my list. So we've done the dungarees, and we've done the blanket squares, and then we've got Mum's jumper, Adriana's blanket, honeycomb blanket, Mark socks, and my Scrappy socks. So, making progress on my list, I've got the honeycomb blanket. So I made this 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and it's it's a series of honeycombs. It's a pattern by Stylecraft, and you've got these dark grey, orange, and light grey. It was a kit that Stylecraft did, but I did my own version. This is made in Stylecraft Special Aran, and I made them so the colours match our bedroom. But, and this is where I need to find the one that's broken. It's an orange one, that's all I can remember. There it is. Can you see the offending? So, I just need to darn it. So I need to find the end. There's the end. So it's done with a series of magic circles. And you can see there's the end of the magic circle, and it's just come loose where I've not joined it in properly. So I will put some new thread through it, and I will secure it around the circle, and then I'll secure it with the new thread, and then I'll just sew that end in. So that's what I'm going to do now. Back in a minute. And there we are. I had to find the right one. So that has been closed up. So that is repair. If I put that in my mouth, I can't speak to you, can I? That's repair number 1 done. So this blanket can now go back on our bed. It's only been months. I knew it was a quick job. Okay, so that's blanket 1 done. I don't have a pencil with me to tick off my list, but I can now give that back to Mark. And it's, the original pattern was in double knit, and I made it in an Aran, and it is huge, and it's super squishy to lie under in an evening. And I'm not a yarn snob. I love working with hand dyed. I love working with 100% wool, but that's 100% acrylic. And acrylic has a place, and for big old blankets, it's nice and warm and really heavy to get under a weighted blanket. So next up is Adriana's blanket, and actually, you can see the finished baby blankets that I am making, because this is Adriana's. And I've shown this off if you've seen some of my previous videos, but this is what I was saying earlier. So there's the first lace pattern, and there's the second lace pattern. It's got a lovely cable border all the way around, which holds it together. And then there is a letter square, and obviously A for Adriana. And it's nice and big, but Aid's has got a little fray on the A. So it's just where I've done the colour work, and I've got a tiny little hole that's appeared, which I spotted. So again, I just need to secure that. So I'm going to have an investigation. I'm going to find out where the split edge is, or the split yarn is. I think it's just that bit there. And then it's in the cream. So I will try and tidy up. I'll probably bring some yarn in here and then run it along the back, join the A back to the cream, and then sew the ends on the side. So let's go and do that one, and I will be back in a minute. And we're done on the next one. We are rattling through these. So this one, I've had to fudge it a little bit, but you can just about make out where the patching has happened. But do you know what? As a little patchwork for the broken thread, I'm okay with that. I'll show you the back. You can see where I've put a line of thread in, but I kind of felt like that was a weak point, a weak edge. So I've popped a longer bit of thread in, and I've kind of come along here and I've gone up into the border. And actually what I've done is this whole edge was quite weak. And interestingly, this was one of the very first things that I ever made. So this is 7 years old, and it's held up really well, but you can see where I didn't really know what I was doing, and some of the edges are a bit loosey-goosey. So I've taken the opportunity now, while I have reinforced this, I've reinforced the whole of that edge as well. So that's fine. So that's another thing ticked off the list, which is great. And Adriana can now have a blanket back. She came over for Sunday lunch last weekend it was, and she said, "Uncle Martin, have you finished my blanket yet?" And I was like, "I haven't, I'm sorry." And I thought about doing it there and then, but everyone was here. There was 14 if you include the babies. And I was like, I'm not doing it now. I need to do it in the peace and quiet. So that is Adriana's blanket done. So next I am going, I dropped my needle on the floor. So now I need to do Mark's socks. So I'm going to go and get the socks, and I need to find the matching yarn for the socks. And I think I need some clippy markers, because I'll show you in a minute. It's a bit of a mess. Okay, I'm back, and I've got a pencil, and I've updated. So that's Adriana's blanket done, and that's the honeycomb blanket done. Ticking through the list. Right, now this is going to need to be a proper fudge, because I have no idea what he's done. Mark likes to wear his socks quite high up his leg, so he has a tendency to pull them, and he's pulled them and he's split the yarn. So what I've managed to work out is I've got a loose stitch here, which is now on a clippy marker, and I've got a loose stitch here, which is on a clippy marker, and then I've got 2 loose stitches here. So I think what's happened, the yarn here has snapped, and then this stitch here, in theory, should be ravelled up to here to join there, and then this second stitch here has unravelled and should go up to here. Now, of course, this yarn here, you can see the very edge of it it's completely snapped. So what I think I'm going to try and do is use a crochet hook, and I'm going to try and bring this stitch back down to the red section so that it's in line with this red one here. And then I can secure those. And then what I'm going to try and do is then secure the red section. And then I've got the stripe of the white and grey, and then we're at the top of the brown. So I'm basically going to try and bring this stitch down to close that hole up. They're then equal. And then I'm just going to darn it, and I'm just going to pull them together. So the pattern will break ever so slightly, but the yarn has snapped. So what I'm going to try and do is just bring them down, and then I'll leave a long end on both edges, and then I will just sew up and down in a line to try and secure them, because I can't recreate the stitch because the yarn has just snapped. And I think it's this sock. So I think there was a weakness because I've already darned these socks once already, and I don't know which one it is. I was trying to look at it, which does suggest that my darning was very good. Oh no, actually, I think it was this one. I think you can see there the heel's a little bit bumpy. So I think I've already darned this where, again, he's pulled on it. Which, when we come to my actual Scrappy Sock project later on, doesn't bode well, because that's not got any nylon in. He's done this to the nylon, and there's nylon in these. My other socks have got silk in them, so I've told him he's going to need to be more careful with them. But hey-ho, I've never done this before, so this gives me something to work on. See, so you can see there's tiny little threads, so I need to try and work out what to do. So I'm going to have a go at that, and then I will be back and show you my progress in a moment. I've got the tiniest crochet hook. This is a 2mm, and this yarn is 2.25mm. This is the smallest crochet hook I've got, so it's going to have to hope and work that I can ladder that down and then secure. Right, so I have finished that bit. So the broken bit was in this yellow stitch up here. So I have re-picked the stitch back up, and we now have 2 red stitches here, and we have 2 brown stitches here. So this is the section that's broken. So I've now got red thread, and what I'm going to do to try and keep the color sequence, I'm just going to darn these 2 stitches, and I'm going to try and pull this together to just join these 2 edges. So I'll do that in red, and then I'll snip it, and then, because, you know, I'd like it to try and be as invisible as possible. I'll then do the same with the grey and the white, break it, and I'll do the same with the brown. But what that does mean then is I've then got 6 ends, because I've got brown, grey, red ends to sew in this side, and then the same on this side. So hopefully that will then reinforce the whole thing and just give it a little bit more strength, because obviously that is going to be a point of weakness. So I'm now going to try and do some darn. Wish me luck. And it's taken me about 25 minutes, maybe half an hour. I should have timed myself, but ta-da! So you can see it there. It's a bit fluff, a bit lumpy bumpy, but considering I've never done socks before, I've never done socks before. I had a tiny little hole, which I did sew up. But I'm pretty pleased with my effort. If I look back, considering it was up here, and I've laddered that yellow stitch back down, I've then picked up and secured the brown and then the red. And yes, it's a little bit lumpy but it's really secure. I've given it a bit of a pull. I've secured the yarn into the ribs, which shows that I've taken the yarn around to give it that extra stability when I've sewn it in. So there we go. Hole closed, socks fixed. They will go on to live another day. There was a tiny little, it wasn't a hole, I think it was a gap here, where I had turned the heel, So as I had some brown yarn, I took in the opportunity while I was on the other side, and I've just secured that as well. So they are done. So that is another one that we can take off the list. Mark's socks. Ta-da! So left on the list is Mum's jumper and my Scrappy socks. So I said Mum's jumper is a bit of a stretch target. I'll show it off. It's over there. I need to go and get it. But I'm going to have some lunch. It is now 12:30. I'm going to go and see if Mark can have a bit of a break from work and have some lunch. And then I can hang the washing up and I can have a little potted around. And then after lunch, we're going to start my Scrappy socks. So my Scrappy socks are this pattern. This is the Bob sock by Louise Tilbrook. So you'll see it in a moment. I've made my tube and we're going to do heels, toes and cuffs. And I've never done that before. So that is going to be exciting, maybe. So I'm going to go and have some lunch and then I will be back shortly. Right, I'm back. I've had lunch. It's now 10 to 2. I'm watching Cheer on Netflix. I've been watching it over the weekend. If you saw season 1, season 2 is equally as bonkers. Honestly, it follows, it's a documentary on Netflix following American cheerleading. And honest to God, it's the most stressful thing I've ever watched. Like, the acrobatics and stuff they're getting these kids to do. Anyway, I had to just stop. I couldn't do any sock because I had to finish watching the next bit of Cheer and the result. Right, so I'm back with you now. So, on to my Scrappy socks. Let's see if we can get this ticked off the list today. So, here is my Scrappy tube. So, I've done the same pattern, as I said earlier, as the Bob sock. So, this is Louise Tilbrook's pattern, and it's just got a very simple twisted rib section, but it gives a really good fit on the socks. So I started up here and I've continued all the way down. What I did do is, I think there's probably pros and cons with this. So I enjoyed doing this technique because I basically just kept going and I've knit a really long tube, but I guess I could have done one sock, then done a second sock. So what I did do is I put a little bit of contrast yarn in here. So this is the halfway point. So that's where I'm going to split the sock in half. So this will become the very top, and then obviously this will be the bottom to become the toe, and then the top of here. So there's probably pros and cons of doing a long tube versus making 2 socks, but I quite enjoyed it. I did it as a Scrappy sock. This is the leftover yarn from Lola Bean that I used in my Shawlography Stephen West shawl. And that's all the cream I've got left. So I loved the idea of Scrappy socks. So what I'm going to do is I've now got to the bottom. So this is now going to have a toe. And I'm going to do contrast toes, cuffs and heels in this wine burgundy colour. So my method, I'm going to do the toe on this one, so it's finished off at the end. Then I'm going to cut it, and I've got a long circular needle that I'm going to pick the stitches up and then unravel it. And then I will put the toe on the second one. Then I think I'm going to do the cuffs. And then I'm going to do the heel. And I think I've measured it approximately that if that's the foot, obviously the toe's going to bring it down to about here. So I think it's going to be between these 2 grey points, roughly is where the heel's going to go. But obviously Mark needs to try it on for the heel. So for now, I'm just going to knit a toe. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to start cutting knitting yet. I'm going to knit a toe and see what happens. And basically by knitting the toe, I'm procrastinating further to the point that I have to pick the stitches up and then cut this. So I'll be back in a bit once I've done my toe, and then we'll talk about how I'm going to cut my tube in half. Okay, I've moved locations because I'm sitting in the window again now because there's slightly better light. Although it's only 3 o'clock, but it's one of those gloomy Mondays. Okay, so toe is done. I've gone around the top. It's a rounded toe where you just do the decreases. I've gone around the top and I've caught the stitches, but I need to sew this in, but I obviously can't get my hand in to be able to secure it on the inside. So I've just left a long length. Excuse the dangling if you can hear it. Forepaws is eating from the bowl and his collar is tapping on it. Right, so I have decided, I think I'm gonna have enough. I'm really, really bad at estimating yarn. Like, I look at something and I'm like, is that enough to do a cuff? I know that's enough to do a cuff, but do you know what I mean? I'm really bad at estimating. So what I want to do is I want to split the tube and then do the second toe. Then I want to do both the heels and then I'll go on to do the cuff, because if I run out of red, what I'll do is I'll split the red in half then with whatever I've got left after doing heels and toes, and then I can do enough on the cuff, and if I need a bit more on the cuff, I can use one of the greys. Mark is like, they're scrappy socks, I don't care what they look like, and I'm like, no, I need them to look as nice as possible. So that's my plan. So I'm not going to do this on camera because there's going to be a lot of tongue out, concentration head. But I have a long cable needle. He's now drinking water. I do apologise. Never work with humans. Humans? I never work with humans anyway. Never work with animals and children. There we go. Right, so I've got a needle. So my plan is to go around top line and bottom line. So I'm going to pick into the red and then this row of red here. And then I'm going to pick up the grey and then I'm going to cut the first line of the red. That's my plan to then split it. But I said I'm not going to do that on camera because I could be here a while because I've never done this before. So I know if you imagine the V's, I'm going to pick up the right leg of each stitch all the way around. And then when I cut it, the stitches should be securely on the needle and mounted the right way. But if I pick up a left leg instead of a right leg, I'm not bothered as long as I've got a leg. So I'm basically going to, I got to start somewhere. Oh, I might need to get my mother's reading glasses. Right, let me just do a couple just to show you. Oh, here he comes. Hello, can I help you? You coming on camera? You? Come here. Come here. No, it's gone away. Right, so I'm doing that, for example. So I'm going to pick the stitches up. So this is the first red, then I'm going to do the same on the bottom red, and hopefully with a long cable I can go around and then around and then cut. I'll be back in a minute. Right. I've picked up, obviously the cable isn't going to go, not obviously, now it's obvious, the cable's not going to go around the thing twice. So I have picked up most of it on the cable, but on this side I've had to stick a double point in to go there. So what I'm thinking is when I then split this, in theory, 1.5 sides will then be on the cable and then one side will be on this. So I'm going to do this gingerly now. Oof. See, so this side is easy, is a lot easier to see. If you've never done this before, this isn't a tutorial. There will be hundreds of tutorials out there. This is me finding my way. So I've picked up stitches on this line and I picked up stitches on this line, and then in the center, I'm going to just do one, I'm going to lift a stitch up and I'm going to snip that stitch, and then I'm just going to unravel. Actually, should we try that together? So if I pick up, I might need to use one of the pointy ends. So if I pick up that single stitch and then with my snips, I'm going to snip. Does this count as sticking? I think it does. Okay. Right. So I have snipped. And now what it tells me is I should, if I've done this correctly, I should be able to just undo fire test. Loki. There we go. So you've had the fire test and the dog barking. So there we are. It is. Oh, Loki, be quiet. I'm leaving this in the edit. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to continue unraveling, but I now have a hole in my knitting. Right, be back in a minute. I'm back and it seems to be working, although obviously now I just put the camera on. As I get to the final section, I stop the footage. I stopped the footage just because I had split a stitch as I was picking it up. So if I snip that, we now have two. So I need to pick up, there's a couple of stitches, ignore this is where I split it, which is why I was having problems detaching it. What I probably should have done is used a different type of yarn, because I knew that this yarn is a bit splitty because of the silk. So what I just need to do is I need to correct this bit here, but that's okay, because that's just picking up stitches where I dropped them, so I can correct that. And then this one here, I've dropped one stitch there, for example. So I just need to correct that. So there is the toe. So this one is now going to have the cuff. And then this one here is the cuff that's going to have the toe. So what I'm now going to do is I will take the stitches off this cable. So I'm going to put this one so that I can do where this red is here. This is going to become the toe. So I'm going to take this off the cable because I can't do magic loop. As we know, team double points. So I'm going to just pick the stitches up and put them back on the double points. And then I'm going to do the toe. And then I will be back with an update. This is very exciting. I hope you're enjoying. Like, this is crazy. I've never done anything like this before. Bit of waist yarn. Let's go. So it's now 5:30 and I've decided this vlog is going to go into tomorrow because I'm having lots of fun with my socks, but I feel like I need to finish this to now show you. So I had a little potted around, so I haven't just been sitting here for 3 hours doing toes and splitting or whatever the last time check was. But we now have 2 tubes and 2 toes. So the socks are done as much as toe is concerned. And the same, so I just got to sew the ends in on those. I need to shove my hand in and do that. I'll probably do that when the heel's in. So next task is for Mark to try them on. Now the toes are finished, and then I can mark out where the heel's going. I said I think it's going here between this light mid-grey and dark grey, but we will see. I think that's about the right place. So the heel will go there, afterthought heel, and then the cuff. And I've found the pattern that I'm going to use. Louise, off of Louise Tilbrook Bob Socks, has a tutorial on her blog. I'll pop the link below that talks about the afterthought heel. And I'm basically doing a mini toe. But the reason I'm going to carry this on until tomorrow is because it's only 5:30. We're going to go and walk the dog. We're going to have some tea. But I can snip the heel and I can have a go at doing the heel later tonight in the light, but it's not great light to then finish filming. And of course I then need to edit this and get uploaded. So I might see how much I can do today. At least I want to do the heels. That might be a plan. If I could do the heels tonight, then I'll probably show you tomorrow when it's light, and then I can edit this together, get it uploaded, and then you can see the cuffs in my January wrap up. Maybe that's the plan. We will see. But yeah, I said at the beginning, or at some point in this video, I want to do this on Monday and get it uploaded, but it's 5:30. I feel like I'm going to finish it all off and then we'll get it loaded up on Tuesday. So we are going to go and walk the dog. Loki, should we go for a walk? Can you hear him running? Should we go for a walk? Are we going walkies? Are we? Are we going to go walkies? Yeah? He's super excited. Right, I'm going to go and walk the dog and I'll be back in a bit. Hi. Say hello. You going to say hello to people? Oh, who's that? Who's on the screen? Who's on the screen there? You going? I finally managed to get him on camera and I didn't bribe him with food. Yes. So if you've never seen him before properly, that's little Loki. He is my brother's dog and he belongs to niece 2 and nephew 1, Olivia and Noah. So he's here for the week because they've gone on holiday. So I'm going to wrap this vlog up. I've got some progress to show you. It's now Tuesday. It's lunchtime. I'm having a quick break from work. So I'm going to just finish this bit. And then I've done most of the editing and we're already on like 45 minutes, I think. So it's a slightly longer vlog than I was expecting. So I'm just going to edit this together and then get it uploaded. So we have a sock and we have a heel. Yay! So I'm very pleased that you saw this yesterday, obviously as a tube, we've done the toe, and then I've added the afterthought heel in, and my measurements were correct. When Mark put it on, it is in between these two sections. I'll pop the detail for Louise's website on there in terms of how you measure, where to put the heel. Louise has got a tutorial on that, so no spoilers from me. Go and check out Louise's blog if you're interested in knowing more. But basically, the heel has been finished. So you can see where I picked up the stitches and then we cut. And I didn't film this bit. It was the exact same process as when I split the tube. So you've seen that before. Pick up the stitches, and then snip and then unravel. The only difference being I was only unpicking one line, whereas obviously when I created the 2 tubes, I had to cut the whole way around. That was the only difference. But it was a lot simpler than I was expecting, and it was a lot easier than doing the tube. So having made 2 socks, it made the process of just doing the heel slightly easier. I made a style decision, and Mark's only got little feet. He's a UK size 7. So it was a style decision, but I think it's worked, where in theory, what I'm doing is I'm picking up half the number of stitches to create the heel. But what I did is I actually picked up less than half, because I've got this rib panel here. Technically half would have been this purl stitch here. So the heel should have come to here and then come out that way. So the heel itself would have been bigger, but I didn't want to do that because I do like the uninterrupted rib. And all I did was, where you can see the decreases here, you can see this clear line, and we've got the same on the other side, which is the feature of the afterthought heel. I then did a couple of extra rounds, just to add a tiny bit of length here, just to make sure I had enough material when I then did the Kitchener stitch to close it. So I've added a little bit. It doesn't make the sock look any different, apart from it maybe has a slight bump here, but Mark tried it on and it fits brilliantly. So I'm really happy, and it's definitely ensured that the pattern stayed the same. So there we go. This is going to be it now for this video. I have started the second one, so I picked up and I snipped that last night. I just thought I would end this one here so that I can show you what it looks like. I I think the tutorial, it talks about double points, but it talks about needle 1, needle 2. So I think there's no picture. And I think what Louise suggests is that you just have half the stitches on one needle and half on the other. I tried that and I found it really tight. I think that's how I was meant to do it, but I didn't like that. So I've kind of adapted it and I've just put it back onto 4 needles so that I can go around, because what I was finding with just one needle, I had quite a big hole. So I've already got a little hole here, which is because of my ribbon, which I'll just be able to, I had that on this sock here. So I'll just be able to pull the grey tight and then sew that in, which will close the hole up. But I found it was quite loosey-goosey and I didn't like it. So I've gone on to traditional double points and I'm going around in a circle. But basically that's what it looks like. So I've done my cut, I've picked up, I'm on my double points. I've nearly finished this one now. I've got a couple more decreases to go, and then I'll add that tiny little bit of extra fabric again so that the heel matches. And then it's a case of just Kitchener stitching to graft the toe together. So what I did do, which again is why I left this one open, I'm just trying to tuck these ends in out of the way so that you can see it properly. What I will do then is when I've finished and I'm down to the number of stitches that it recommends for me to close, I will just put these onto 2 needles only so that it's easier to then graft the stitches back and forth using Kitchener stitch. But I thought that might be quite nice just for you to see what that heel looks like. And it's brilliant because it's only a small number of stitches. Mark was able to try this sock on, I think I made him try it on 3 or 4 times before I was like, right, we're going to Kitchener it. So it's great that you can put it on, you can play with the heel, work out, do you need more fabric, less fabric? So you can really adapt it, which is obviously something you can't really do with a traditional heel flap and gusset on a sock. So there we go. The bit that I haven't finished, of course, I haven't done the rib on the top. You don't need to see that. This sock, the stitches are all safe. They're on the long cable. So all I will do is transfer these to double points and then I will do the ribbon. And this sock here, I will just pick up into this cast on edge and then do the same. So I said, this isn't a tutorial. This was my make and mend Sunday, Monday. That's now Tuesday. But you'll get the idea of what I just need to do on this bit. And I will have, unless I get distracted, no, I will have a finished pair of socks for January's wrap up. So I've got another finished object. I might have another one after that, but I've got some finished objects to share when I do my January month end roundup. And also then these get to be entered into the shawls to match your, no, socks to match your shawl knit along using up my scraps. So I'm super pleased with how these have turned out so far. And I will have a pair of socks for Mark. And in the January video, I will get some footage of him wearing them. I'll talk a bit more in the January wrap because I'm mindful I've spent a lot of time talking about these socks now. I can see pros and cons. I've only made 4 pairs of socks, 3 of them with a heel flap and gusset, and then 1 with an afterthought heel. I can see pros and cons of both, and I can see pros and cons of doing the long tube as well. And I feel like if I was going to do this again, I went through an unnecessary amount of fiddle in the beginning trying to split the tube because of this pattern. I think if you've got quite a simple vanilla sock and it's all just knit stitches, I think the separation would have been a lot easier. I struggled because of the purl stitches and my own inability to identify where I need to pick the stitch up. So I think if I was going to do something with a pattern like this again, I probably would have got to the last grey bit and then put it onto waist yarn and then started a second sock and then just done it. No problem at all though with doing an afterthought heel because as I said, it doesn't personally for me now, it doesn't go into the ribbon pattern. So I can definitely see why you would do an afterthought heel, and compared to a heel flap and gusset on a traditional sock, this was super quick. So this could be one of my preferred methods now of knitting a tube and adding in a heel, as long as it's a plain vanilla sock. If it's got a pattern in it, I probably would do a more traditional sock. But let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there are loads of you watching that are experienced sock knitters and will have a preference one way or the other. So I would love to know, are you an afterthought heel or are you a traditionalist? Have you made a long tube before? Did I do it right? Did I do it wrong in terms of how I cut it? I know I've said this before. There's no such thing as the knitting police. So I know I didn't do it wrong, but did I make more work for myself? Is there an easier way that I could have done it, perhaps? Please let me know. But I'm in love with these. They are exactly how I imagined them in my head. And for Scrappy Socks, they are going to match, which I'm just super pleased about, because Mark's like, just doesn't matter. They can be different. And no, they can't be different. I need them to match. So I'm really pleased. Should we have that as the thumbnail? I'm really pleased, or maybe that's the thumbnail. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. And I hope that you've enjoyed this slightly longer than anticipated, but very much lazy video, I think. I know it's been a bit choppy because I've been going away, doing a bit and coming back, but I've had a really great time sitting down and ticking things off my list. I haven't yet ticked this off, the final one, off the list, because of course they're not finished. And I didn't get to my mum's jumper, which again is over there, and I don't have it. Let me... As if by magic. This was my mum's jumper. So it's got this sort of, I don't know what this rib pattern is called. I can't remember. But basically the sleeves are too long. So I need to take the sleeve back to this black marker. So it's a knit flat sleeve, and I didn't sew the ends in, thinking ahead, so that I can just undo it. So I need to basically undo the sewn edge, rip it back, and then she wants the rib to start here. So I'm taking quite a lot of the sleeve out. It is really long. So I'm basically just gonna go back to here and then do the cuff. So I didn't get to that, but that will feature in a future video. But that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you're still here, let me know your thoughts and your comments. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I've really enjoyed ticking off my list again and sharing lots of different projects and talking about how I approach things. I'm by no means a proficient knitter when it comes to darning and fixing problems. So I just find my way, maybe a quick Google search or a YouTube search to get some hints and tips from others that might have faced a similar problem. But again, any hints and tips that you've got, please let me know in the comments below. And if you've got a project that there's something wrong with it, maybe I've inspired you to try and fix it if you've been putting that off, and let me know in the comments what you're going to try and fix. So I'm going to wrap this video up there. Thank you so much for watching. Click on that subscribe button if you have enjoyed and you're not yet subscribed to my channel. It's free for you to subscribe and helps me to continue to grow my community. Thank you so much, as always, if you're a returning viewer, for popping back. I will be back in a week or so's time now with a January wrap up, and also I'm planning to go to the Unravel Yarn Festival mid-February, so I'm going to have another video up to talk about that, a bit of a show preview. So a couple of videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're not going to weekly vlogs, but there might be one a week for the next couple of weeks. We will see. But yeah, I hope that you're all well, and I'm definitely going to go now and wrap this up. So I will speak to you very soon, and until we speak again, happy crafting.